Who's from Jayhawk? Whose idea was the infamous crucifixion angle, and what was your reaction to the immediate fallout from it?
Alright, crucifixion angle was Scotty. Me and Scotty, this is when I was already over. Scotty ended up coming in, and you gotta remember, Vince had him in a producer job for that Saturday afternoon show.
Shotguns?
No, the one where they had fireworks going off before it.
Superstars.
Whatever.
Superstars, yeah.
But Vince fucking had Scotty in that director position because he was Shane's friend, but Scotty's that smart. Scotty was perfect for that position, you know what I mean? So Scotty comes in. What was he questioning him?
The crucifixion angle.
Yeah, so Scotty comes in and we need somewhere to go, you know what I mean? Between like we're doing the kid, we're doing this, we need a natural transgression or transfixion or whatever you want to call it, a place for the angle to go. And a little bit more than just what the WWE would do or the WCW would do, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to tell you the honest God's truth, I haven't been asked this question a lot, but I didn't realize how heavy it really was until we got in the back. So, just like Brian Lee, if you ever watched the Brian Lee and you watched the Tommy Dreamer scaffold match, I built that scaffold. It was Paulie's idea was to have scaffolding up on both sides of the arena and then have a walkway across. And just from construction, I was like, Paulie, you can't do that. They just don't have scaffolding. Just does a span because you got a 22-foot ring. It just does a span 25 feet, right? Unless you double layer it. And I said, this is going to cost you that. He's like, well, heck. He goes, what else can you do? I was like, I'll come up with something. So from the rafters of the roof, I end up hanging down these chains. I end up hanging down half-inch chains. I take 4x4s. I take four 4x4s this way. I take two 4x4s this way. And this is when Tommy Dreamer put Brian Lee through all the tables on the scaffold match. Where was I going in there?
Crucifixion.
Okay, crucifixion, yeah. So whenever anything had to be done, Paul would always be like, can you make this work out for me? Because I've done roofing, I can build your house except electric and plumbing. I can do everything else. So Paulie always, because it was my hometown, Paulie would come to me, say, what can you do? So this one, it was kind of like Paul was letting us go on our own here. I mean, he was like, this was the best part about Paul is that, all right, let me give you the worst part. The worst part was, I'm in Reading, Pennsylvania. Paul pulls me aside and goes, this was when that movie Home Alone with that kid was real hot. He goes, listen, we're going to get that kid, what's the kid's name?
Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, yeah. He goes, we're going to get Macaulay Culkin, and we're going to bring him in, and we're going to make him your son, and we're going to have Raven steal him. And I'm like, Paul, shut the fuck up. Why don't we just use my own son who's the same age? He's like, oh, that's brilliant. You know what I mean? So I think the crucifix angle was more Raven's than Paul's idea, but I was the one that put it together. It was two 4x4s. I had to notch out the one 4x4. I had to put the eye hooks through the ends on each one. I had the strings around, like each one they wrap it, and I can remember Stevie Richards, because I was telling it was Stevie, it was the Meanie, it was Supernova. I was like, listen, you guys, when we get out there, when we finally get down to it, I'm like, I have these things set up, so you got to wrap them around my arms to make it look good. And I said that Raven's going to put that crown of thrones on my head, so I'm bleeding real good. If you guys could pop up the pictures as I'm talking about this, the pictures are fantastic.
If you can pop the ownership from Vince over to us, I will.
Oh, yikes. You know what?
Think about that.
Maybe we could do something. Hey, what can he do about somebody else that had, if I own?
Well, that would work. That would work.
So,
see, Vince? That's how we do it. Go.
So we do the crucifix angle, and then I tell the security, which was Atlas security, which was God. These guys, which Vince ended up screwing over when ECW got there. Atlas was the best. I mean, they secured us from the time we got to the building until the time we got on our airplanes to go home. Ron was the best that there was. So I told Ron, I said, listen, we're going to do this little thing. I said, nobody else knew about this. Todd didn't know about it. Paulie really didn't know what was happening. Nobody in the locker room knew what was happening. Security didn't know what was happening. Especially Shane and Kurt Angle didn't know what was happening. So we ended up doing the finish. I don't remember what the finish was. They pulled me out. They put me, and I just remember Stevie going to the meeting going, man, this is fucked up that we're doing this. I mean, they're literally like 2-3 feet away from the fans. And Stevie had a problem with this. Stevie's a great kid. I love the kid to death, but I'm like, Stevie, it's a work. Will you wrap my goddamn arms up, will you? Now stand me up on the thing. They stand me up on the thing. And then I get the security to carry me out above their heads, like through the crowd. I get down, I get on Hulk, and they unwrap me. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are the greatest. And I hear Paulie, oh my God, that's the worst thing that I've ever seen. Yeah. Because you got Shane Douglas and we got Kurt Angle in his ear. It was Kurt Angle's ever first professional wrestling show. So Kurt was like totally aghast. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. He was yelling. I just remember hearing him yelling, I will sue you if you make my name any part of this.
Wow.
Whatever. So, Shane's trying to calm him down. Me, I'm just like, I know that shit was good, and I know Paul's going to keep it like that.
Well, Jeff Extreme in Montreal, Canada, sponsored by Main Event Radio, asks what was the opinion of the outcome of the angle, and what was the reaction of the wrestlers who were upset. So we already know that Stevie wasn't a fan of it. Angle had issues with it. Who else?
Well, you know what? Nobody else mattered. I was the most over person in the company, so it would be like Hulk Hogan doing whatever the hell. If Hulk Hogan took the Virgin Mary and shoved a dildo up her ass, I was the Sandman. You couldn't touch me. I was untouchable right then. I don't care how taboo it was. There was nobody that was saying a fucking thing to me about that. They were chirping about it. They were talking to Raven. I was standing right there. They were putting all the heat on Raven, but I was the one who built the thing. I was the one who went through it. I was the one who got the crown on me. I was the one that went through the finish. So all they had to blame was me, but none of them would blame me because none of them were man enough to blame me because back in those days, if you fucked with me, you were done. I was taking this right thumb and I was sticking it in your left eye. I wasn't somebody to fuck with back then. I was, you got you got your badasses now. You got your Perry Saturns, you got your fucking New Jacks, you got your different kind of guys in the locker room, but everybody knew I knew what the fuck I was doing. Do not fuck with me. And I was 10 times more over than everybody except the Public Enemy at that point. And those two guys were my best friends. And those two guys were Johnny and Teddy were totally behind what we were doing because they had been to the big dance before and they knew that we were breaking tradition. And Rocco was Rocco and Johnny was Johnny. And we just went.